in 4 games in 5 days, 6 days. They'll play Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Tuesday, the following week with the Governor's Cup. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yeah. 4 games in 6 days between each other. Good math. Glad I had enough fingers to do the math.
Good job.
So, for which team are the stakes higher this weekend? The obvious answer is Ole Miss. Is that the correct answer?
Yeah, it is. Oh, because there are long-term implications in Oxford right now. There are none in Starkville. There's a tumultuous, is that the word, situation brewing right now in Oxford. One, this team is 5-10. It's going to take a pretty out of character at this point for this team performance over the last month and a half for them to make the NCAA tournament at all, if that's what we call it in baseball. They're going to have to play out of character to make the field of 64. So every series for them matters in that perspective, but when you add on the fact that you are 5-10, you are playing a Mississippi State team that is down at home, a Mississippi State team that flat out owns you in recent history, completely and totally owns you, and you've got program future not on the line this weekend, but it's out there.
Program future questions.
Yeah.
That are hanging in the balance.
Yes, that's a better way to put it. That's why there's more pressure on Ole Miss, because you lose this series and you go to 6 games below 500, in danger of missing the SEC tournament, and that continues for the rest of the season, there's a program change. Things change in the program. If Mississippi State, loses the next few series, the pitching injury news is bad, maybe they miss the SEC tournament or maybe they miss the postseason altogether, nothing happens. Fans aren't happy, but nothing happens. You still have that national championship banner hanging in the outfield. Something happens in Oxford if it goes like that. At least I think it does.
I agree.
Do you agree?
I agree 100%. I think that the pressure and it's all about Ole Miss this weekend for them. They have to win. If they don't win this series, I'm saying it right now, they're not going to make the NCAA tournament. They might not make it to Hoover. They have to win this series. And then there's the Bianco stuff. There's just the perception of this rivalry over the past 5-6 years now. There's just so much on Ole Miss's shoulders this weekend. And that's a thing that if you're a Mississippi State fan, that's good news, because it feels like on top of the fact they just need to win, there's all this other stuff going on in their heads right now. Are they going to be focused to play baseball? So, yeah, there's a ton of pressure on Ole Miss. They need this a lot more than Mississippi State does. But at the same time, Mississippi State does need it. They do need it very badly. They need to build some momentum. They need to start stacking up some wins if they want to go to the postseason. I think the loser of this series, period, isn't going to the postseason, isn't going to the NCAA tournament.
So, current RPI, right? We've talked about the fact that Mississippi State's got a long way to go and a ton of ground to make up. They made up a little bit this weekend, right? Mississippi State climbs to 82.
That's actually dropped since, and I don't understand how, but they were 79 after beating UAB.
Yeah. See is that where Warren Nolan has them also? I was looking at the D1 baseball.
Warren Nolan has them at 80. 80.
Okay, so at 80 in the RPI.
And I looked at this somewhat. What's hurting State right now is this, right? They're 11-1 against quad 4 teams. Now, obviously, the one loss hurts, but that's a pretty reasonable record as you go up and down the list here, right? And then State has 8 wins against quad 1 teams. That's really good. That's a good number to have. They do have 13 losses, but 8-13 is totally respectable. State has nothing in the middle. They're 1-0 against quad 2, and they're 1-2 against quad 3. For example, with Ole Miss, whose RPI is 55, They're 3-3 against Quad 2 and 8-3 against Quad 3. They have 11 wins in there. State has 2. Yeah. They're also 8-0. Ole Miss is against Quad 4. But what's killing Ole Miss is they're 2-8. They don't have any good wins, basically.